body fat, BMI, blood pressure. What? Today, you're going to learn how understanding your health numbers benefits you in the process of improving lifestyle factors. So, let's get started. Hey guys, I'm Tiffany from myPerfectCurl, and thanks for joining me today. Unfortunately, many people do not worry about chronic illness until it becomes a problem. But my thing is, and take it from someone who has firsthand experience, why wait until the starting point is at such a deficit it seems almost impossible to see wellness again? If you have indications that could put you at a higher risk for chronic illness, look at it as a good thing. You have the knowledge, all you have to do is act on it. But wait, let's back up a second. Some of you may be saying, it's not my fault. This runs in my family. Well, yes, but your genes are responsible for about 16% of your health. Okay, fine, then I have terrible insurance and I can't afford to go to the doctor. Yes, that can definitely have an influence on quality of life. And to be honest, you don't want me to get started on that. But really, that's only about 10% of your health. Well, smarty pants, it's toxins in the environment. I'm marinating in pollution. That's true. You're absolutely correct. Our environment is an issue, but that accounts for about 21% of your health. You're still missing the biggest factor of your health. Well, I'm out of ideas, so just spit it out. Well, to be blunt, it's your lifestyle choices, plain and simple. If you aren't doing anything to contribute to improving your health, then you're actively contributing to the decline of your health. This is why if you have family history of certain conditions or know that you already have, let's say, high blood pressure, take that seriously and start the process of improving lifestyle habits so that you will help to reduce risk. You may have high blood pressure or high body fat percentage or high BMI, and it might feel like everything has to be done at once to start making improvements. But there is a more productive way of looking at it. Change becomes easier when you know the end goal, of course, but work on making one change at a time. That one change will positively affect all of those numbers. Become consistent and adhere to that change, and you'll feel empowered to make more changes. As a personal trainer, I am required to take certain measurements and ask specific health questions to determine if a client is ready to begin an exercise program. Depending on their answers, I can start the program with restrictions, or refer them to a doctor for them to release the patient and allow an exercise program with restrictions. There's no one indicator that tells the full story. Body mass index, or BMI, has received a lot of public scrutiny because of its limitations. Anyone in the health and fitness industry understands that BMI is just one piece of the puzzle, and given the context of any client, it's an easy way to gauge improvement. Some of the factors we look at to begin a program: blood pressure, or BP. The magic number for good BP is numbers less than 120/80. If either number is higher, exercise can improve those over time, but it is worth talking to your doctor. Although chronic illness seems to spring up on you, it takes years to develop cardiovascular disease, and your blood pressure numbers should not be taken lightly. Family history. That one's pretty obvious. How much do you currently work out? If you exercise less than 90 minutes per week, you're considered sedentary. Walking to work, adding in walking after dinner, and of course, starting an exercise program are great ways to become more active. Recent medical history. Have you had any surgeries, or are you on any medications that might affect your ability to exercise? These are all things that you should be aware of and know. If you have a close relative who died of cardiovascular disease and your BP is over 120/80, that's a pretty huge red flag. Some of the other baseline measurements that will be taken include weight. This number doesn't tell much on its own, but monitoring changes in weight is an important piece of the puzzle. Depending on your situation, it can also be good to set measurable goals based on weight. Heart rate. The average resting heart rate is about 72 beats per minute. The stronger your heart becomes, the lower your heart rate will be. This also means that you'll have a higher threshold for feeling fatigued. Your body has to work less because it's working more efficiently. Oh, so are you saying that we don't have finite amounts of energy? Also, your target heart rates for cardio will be based on your age and resting heart rate. So it's good to measure this every 6 to 8 weeks. Body fat percentage and muscle mass. A healthy range of body fat for women is 21 to 31%, and for men is 14 to 24%. A little below those numbers, you get your athletes, and even lower gets into an unhealthy range. Fat is important. Your organs need those to function. Knowing your muscle mass is also important because for every decade over the age of 30, you lose 5% of your muscle mass if you're not actively doing something about it. If you've been working out for a few months and your weight hasn't changed, looking at fat and muscle percentages will help to get a better picture of what's happening. Waist and hip circumference. The waist to hip ratio can indicate if you are at a higher risk for cardiovascular disease. This is something that your trainer should discuss with you. If you're female with a waist of more than 35 inches or a male with a waist of more than 40 inches, this automatically puts you at a higher risk. Remember, abs happen in the kitchen, so if you want those killer abs, nutrition is what will make that happen. There are other body composition measurements that can easily be taken with a bioelectrical impedance analysis scale, or BIA. A good quality BIA scale is such a helpful tool. There may be some questions of accuracy, and for athletes, there are more accurate ways to measure. But for the average person, if used properly, meaning measurement taken over time, using the same conditions, like the same scale used at the same time of day, it can give you a more well-rounded snapshot of progress. Dude, you talk a lot. And you know what? I get it. This is a lot of information, and it can be intimidating to start an exercise program, especially for those who have never played sports or been to a gym. There was a study in England that 75% of women are afraid to start working out because they're afraid of being judged. Why all of this is important is if you're informed about what's happening in your body, you can make better decisions about how you want to live. If you have the desire to make a change but don't feel comfortable, this is also why a PT can be a great help. All of this info will be kept straight, you'll know your baseline, you'll have a plan, and she'll teach you the correct way to perform the exercises so that you'll feel more confident. Thinking back, the first PT that I worked with was terrible. She was so impersonal and gave me a bunch of generic exercises that were not tailored to my needs. It was a one-off session that came with the gym membership, but I was so uninspired to ask for more, and she never followed up. Don't be afraid to interview a potential PT. A lot of experience is definitely attractive, but it isn't necessarily the only way to measure. You should be comfortable with your trainer, and a 10-minute conversation can give you a good feel of the chemistry. Also, you can ask what to expect so that you know what measurements they will be looking at. There's no better feeling than seeing the numbers change for the better. Don't be afraid of those numbers. Be afraid of what will happen if you don't know them. Even if you have the information and know a PT, there still can be something holding you back. You may need a little more help with setting goals and acting on them, and this is where a wellness coach can be helpful. Have you seen my wellness coaching video? Coaches bridge the gap between knowing what to do and actually doing them, because they give you the tools to help you better understand the values and strengths to make the process more attainable. There's no psychoanalysis or intervention. A coach believes that you're the expert and the process is about you and becoming more connected to what's really important in your life. Well, thanks for joining me. I hope this information was helpful, and if so, like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Make sure to leave a comment below and tell me what lifestyle factors you would like to improve. Peace!